Right now, you might be feeling lost. Not completely broken. Not completely fine either. Just stuck somewhere in between. You wake up every morning, do what you're supposed to do, smile when people expect you to. But deep inside, there's a quiet question that never leaves you alone. Why is this happening to me? Why does nothing feel clear? Why am I trying so hard and still not seeing results? You look around and see people moving ahead. Friends, classmates, colleagues. Some seem to have it all figured out. And then there's you. Still waiting. Still grinding. Still believing, even when belief feels heavy. Let me tell you something you might not want to hear right now. This phase is not punishment. It's preparation. But I know. When you're inside the storm, that explanation feels empty. Because when life doesn't make sense, words don't help much. You start questioning yourself, your decisions, your dreams. You replay old moments in your head at night. What if I had chosen differently? What if I started earlier? What if I'm just not meant for more? And the scariest thought of all, what if nothing ever changes? Nobody talks about this part of life. They talk about success. They talk about hustle. They talk about results. But they don't talk about the silent seasons. The seasons where you're growing, but you can't see it yet. The seasons where effort feels invisible. Where prayers feel unanswered. Where patience feels like suffering. This is the season where most people quit. Not because they're weak, but because they don't understand what's happening. You see, clarity doesn't come first. Confusion does. Strength doesn't come first. Struggle does. Meaning doesn't come first. Pain does. And this is where life tests you. Not to destroy you, but to shape you. Every time you feel delayed, life is teaching you patience. Every time you feel ignored, life is teaching you self-worth. Every time things fall apart, life is removing what no longer fits your future. But when you're living it, it feels unfair. You try to explain your pain to people, but they don't really get it. They say things like, be positive. Just trust the process. Everything happens for a reason. And you nod. But inside you're screaming. Because trusting the process is hard. When the process hurts, you don't need motivation right now. You need understanding. And here it is. Your life is not off track. It's on a different timeline. Some people bloom early. Some bloom later. But late bloomers don't grow weaker roots. They grow deeper ones. What you're building right now isn't just success. You're building resilience, character, emotional strength, things that can't be rushed. Think about this. If everything worked out too fast, you wouldn't be ready to handle it. If all your dreams came true at once, they would crush you instead of fulfilling you. So life slows you down. It strips you. It humbles you. Not to break you, but to prepare you. Right now, you may not see the full picture. But one day, you will look back at this exact phase and say, oh, that's why. That rejection, that delay, that heartbreak, that failure. It wasn't random. It was alignment. And I know, hearing this doesn't erase your pain, but it gives it meaning. You don't need to have it all figured out today. You just need to not give up today. Because clarity comes after commitment. Peace comes after patience. And understanding comes after endurance. Repeat this quietly in your mind. I don't understand it yet, but it will make sense. Pain, failure, loneliness and the waiting phase. There is a kind of pain nobody prepares you for. Not the loud pain. Not the dramatic pain. But the quiet pain. The pain where nothing is visibly wrong. Yet nothing feels right. You don't cry every day. You don't break down in front of people. You just feel tired. Tired of explaining yourself. Tired of hoping. Tired of being strong. This is the phase where life feels slow. Heavy. Unresponsive. You do the work. You show up. You try again. And still, silence. No results. No validation. No clear sign that you're moving forward. This is where doubt starts talking. Not shouting. Whispering. Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you're wasting time. Maybe you should quit and choose something easier. And the scary part? Those thoughts don't sound negative. They sound logical. That's how people give up. Not emotionally, but rationally. They convince themselves that quitting is maturity. But let me tell you something most people never realize. Waiting is not doing nothing. Waiting is one of the hardest kinds of work there is. Because while you're waiting, you're still becoming someone new. You're learning how to exist without applause, how to move without guarantees, how to believe without proof. This phase exposes you. It shows you whether you're chasing outcomes or building identity. Anyone can work hard when results are visible. Anyone can stay motivated when things are going well. But who are you? When no one is watching. When no one is clapping. When no one believes except you. This is where character is built. And yes, this is also where loneliness enters. People slowly stop asking how your thing is going. They stop checking in. Not because they hate you, but because society respects progress, not potential. You might still be dreaming, but the world already wants proof. And that hurts. Because you're still trying, still fighting, still holding on. Yet it feels like you're doing it alone. Late nights, overthinking, staring at the ceiling, asking questions you never asked before. Am I behind? Did I miss my chance? Is everyone else living life while I'm stuck here? Here's the truth no one says out loud. Some seasons isolate you on purpose. Not to punish you, but to disconnect you from noise. When you're constantly surrounded by opinions, you lose your own voice. So life pulls you back, into silence, into solitude, so you can finally hear yourself think. And yes, it's uncomfortable, because in silence, you can't escape your fears. You face them, your insecurities, your impatience, your need for validation. But this is also where you meet your real self. Not the version that performs for others, but the one that exists when nobody's watching. This is where you learn. You are not your timeline. You are not your failures. You are not your delays. You are who you choose to become. Despite all of it, failure, in this phase, feels personal. Every setback feels like confirmation that the voice in your head was right. But failure is not a verdict. It's feedback. It's life saying, not this way. Not yet. Not like that. But never. Not you. The problem is, when you're tired, you start interpreting pauses as rejection. But some doors don't open immediately, because you're still growing into the person who can walk through them. If the opportunity came too early, it would expose you. So life delays you, to protect you. And I know how frustrating that sounds. When you're the one hurting. When bills don't wait. When age feels like pressure. When comparisons steal your peace. But hear this carefully. Your timeline is not late. It's intentional. Some people peak early and spend the rest of their lives trying to hold on. Others rise slowly and build something that lasts. You don't see the roots of a tree growing. You only notice them when the storm comes and the tree doesn't fall. Right now, you're growing roots, deep ones. And yes, there will be days when you feel like giving up. Days where motivation is gone. Faith feels thin. Hope feels fragile. On those days, don't try to be strong. Just be consistent. Show up tired. Show up confused. Show up uncertain. But show up. Because progress isn't made in big breakthroughs. It's made in small, boring, repeated decisions. When no one is cheering. One day, without warning, something will shift. Not overnight. Not magically. But quietly. You'll realize you don't doubt yourself as much. You don't need approval like before. You don't panic the same way. You've changed. And that's when it begins to make sense. Not all at once, but enough to keep going. So if you're in that waiting phase right now, lost, tired, unseen, stay. This is not the end. This is the foundation. And foundations are built underground. Discipline, inner growth, faith and the turning point. There comes a moment in every long struggle when something inside you changes. Not your situation. Not your bank balance. Not your results. You. It's subtle. No celebration. No announcement. Just a quiet realization. I can't control everything, but I can control how I show up. This is where discipline is born. Not the loud, aggressive kind. Not the wake up at 4 a.m. and grind version you see online, but the silent discipline. The kind that shows up, even when motivation is gone. The kind that doesn't wait to feel ready. You stop asking, do I feel like doing this today? And start asking, who do I want to become? Because motivation is emotional. Discipline is identity. You begin to understand something powerful. Your habits are votes for the person you're becoming. Every time you choose consistency over comfort, focus over distraction, patience over panic, you are shaping your future self. And slowly, life starts responding. Not dramatically, but steadily. You handle stress better. You react less. You think clearer. Things that once broke you now just pause you. That's growth. You don't notice it at first, because growth doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself when you're tested again, and you don't collapse like before. This is where faith enters. Not blind faith, but earned faith. Faith built from surviving days you thought would destroy you. Faith that says, I've been through worse. I'll get through this too. You stop begging life for signs. You become the sign. You stop chasing validation. You build quiet confidence. And here's the truth. When your inner world changes, your outer world has no choice but to follow. Opportunities don't appear because you're lucky. They appear because you're ready. And readiness isn't about talent alone. It's about emotional control, mental strength, self-trust, things pain taught you. That's why this phase mattered. The confusion, the waiting, the loneliness, they weren't delays. They were training. One day, you'll be in a position you once prayed for, and you'll realize, if this had happened earlier, I would have messed it up. But now, you can handle it. That's when everything connects. The rejection makes sense. The slow progress makes sense. The silence makes sense. Not because it felt good, but because it shaped you. You stop asking, why me? And start saying, thank you for preparing me. You don't rush anymore. You don't compare timelines. You move with calm certainty, because you know something others don't. Life doesn't reward speed. It rewards alignment. And alignment takes time. If you're watching this right now, and your life still feels unclear, let me say this one last time. You are not lost. You are not late. You are not failing. You are becoming. And becoming is uncomfortable. But one day, not all at once, but piece by piece, it will make sense. So don't quit in the middle. Don't doubt yourself in the dark. Don't walk away just because the road is quiet. Some of the most important transformations happen in silence. If this message spoke to you, take a moment, breathe, and remind yourself, I may not understand it yet, but I trust where I'm going. If you felt this video, like it, so it reaches someone else who needs it. Subscribe if you're on a journey of growth, patience, and purpose. And I want to ask you one honest question. White right pointing backhand index, what phase of life are you in right now? Waiting, building, or becoming? Write it down. Because acknowledging where you are is the first step to where you're going. Stay patient. Stay consistent. Stay aligned. It will make sense. Blue Heart.